Welcome to Sermon Break. We are so excited to be here today with all of you, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I love Thanksgiving in Canada.
I love Thanksgiving, and I want to know, put it in the chat, what is your favorite Thanksgiving dish? What are your favorite Thanksgiving dishes?
I love stuffing.
I knew you were going to say that.
Okay, mine is definitely pumpkin pie.
Okay.
Yes, pumpkin pie.
Whipped cream,
Yes.
no whipped cream.
Whipped cream,
Yeah.
100% whipped cream. But I do want to introduce you to Tariq,
Yes.
because we do have a special guest with us today. So welcome, Tariq.
Thank
Tariq
you.
is on our worship team
Yeah.
at Elevation. But Felicia, what is your favorite Thanksgiving?
My favorite Thanksgiving probably dish is pumpkin cheesecake. My mom makes it
Yes.
every single year, and now she's taught me how to make it, so I make it whenever I can, but it's so great. And we actually have a little bit of a treat for you all. We had some of our friends from Elevation Worship wanting to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, so check this out.
What is good, Canada? It is your Elevation family, and we just want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Take this time to be with your loved ones and celebrate this beautiful time of year. We love y'all so much, baby.
We love you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I love when all of our friends down in Charlotte wish us happy Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
and I know their Thanksgiving is in a month, I
Yep.
guess, from
Yep.
now. But I don't know, we're Canadian. We get to celebrate a little bit early. But
Yes.
speaking of worship and seeing the worship team, like I mentioned, Tariq is here, and the message this past week was called Winded.
Yeah.
And honestly, both Felicia and I, as soon as we heard it, like a light bulb went up when we
Yeah.
thought of Tariq, because every time Tariq is leading worship, he always says, or he said it to me a couple times, like, oh, it got windy in here.
Windy.
So then when it was said winded, I was like, this is like
Yes.
Tariq's message, and I've been living this. Tariq, can you just explain a little bit about like what you even mean when we've been saying windy?
Well, whenever I say windy, I usually just use it in the context of like whenever the Spirit of God comes into a room, I usually just say windy. Or if I hear something that's like really, really good to me, I'm like, oh, that was windy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a running little joke that I have with some of my friends. So
Yeah.
So I feel like, I don't know, just since you're in that realm of windy, I felt like this was such a great message and such a good tie into that.
Absolutely.
But why don't you just put it in the chat right now, what your favorite sermon takeaway was, and then we'll come back and we'll kind of talk about them. So check it out.
When did Peter fall? When did? When did you start focusing on all the things that are going wrong so much that you forgot that God brought you from a mighty long way? When did you forget that his blood prevailed at Calvary, that one drop was enough to come? When did you become one of these hand-in-my-pocket Christian? You used to be wild. You used to be a worshiper. You used to be like David. You used to be undignified. You used to cry when we sang about the goodness of God. When did maybe you got tired out there. It's hard walking on the water. It's hard keeping your focus. I've been rowing all night. I've been feeding people I didn't plan to have come over. I've been smiling at people who came in grumpy. I've been trying to be nice. I've been trying to be kind. I'm winded.
Well, that was probably one of my favorite parts of the entire message.
Yeah.
I just really thought it was so great how he was saying, like, you really need to, like, focus on God, really,
Yeah.
and, like, understand that, like, our faith really has so much power to move things. It has power to move our circumstances, but, like, all we need to do is just, like really zone in onto God and what
Yeah.
he's doing. So I really love that part.
I love that part too, and I just think about, there's been so many times in my life where I've kind of lost focus of
Yeah.
like how close I was to the thing I had been praying for. And Pastor was talking about in the scripture, it says immediately Jesus reached out his hand so that he could lift Peter up out of the water. And the only reason he had to do that was because Peter lost his focus.
Yeah.
And so like there's so many times, even in the Bible, it talks about the Israelites when they're walking to the promised land and what took them what should have only taken them a few days took them 40 years because they lost their focus. But how many times are we like so close to the promise, so close to the
Yeah.
thing that we've been praying for, and then we start to lose our faith because we're like, it's hard, it's getting windy, it's getting difficult.
Yeah.
So
I thought that was so good. I feel
Yeah.
like there's been times in my life too where it's like I'm at the point where I feel like I want to give up
Yeah.
and like I'm crying. I'm like, God, why is this happening? And then pretty soon after I can like see, oh, okay, this is what happened. This is why I had
Yeah.
to go through this. And even
Yeah.
when Pastor was saying like, you'll never know until you get to the other side, but you really have to have faith. You really
Yeah.
have to stay planted. You have to stay obedient to what
Yeah.
you're called to do,
Yeah.
and then really believe that God is going to show up. So I love that. Tariq, what did you love about this message?
Just nearing the end, one thing that he said, that just really touched my heart was that everything he takes you through for a purpose.
yeah.
It's literally on purpose. If he said it, so if he said go to the other side, he will meet you there.
Yeah.
You know, and I just love that promise that he kind of just spelled out for us. I wrote down a little blurb just to myself. I guess like the Lord was telling me in that moment, just write down. But I just wrote down to myself, only He knows what's on the other side of your storm. And we don't have to particularly know. I can rest in the fact that my Father knows what lies on the other side of my disappointment, of my storm, and even my obedience. And that's enough for me. So, you know, I really found comfort in the fact that I can rest and have solace in knowing that the Lord knows my end, He knows my beginning, and because He's already at my end, because He's already on the other side, it takes the pressure off. I don't have to worry,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
I love that. And all throughout scripture, it talks about how like He will finish what He started.
Amen.
Like if He's sending you into the storm, He's not going to just leave you in the middle of the ocean.
Right.
He will meet you, like you were saying, on the other side, because His promises, God's promises never come up void. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I really love that.
No, that's good. I feel like I think about times where I've been in like a storm. I think about when I lived in England alone
Yeah.
and I really felt like I was in a storm there. I felt so alone. I felt so isolated. And then I realized like I had to feel that way so that I could like run back to Jesus'
Yep.
feet. And that's really what propelled me to like go back to church, get planted, start volunteering,
yeah.
like join an e-group. And it made such a difference. And I feel like at that time I didn't know why I was feeling like that. I didn't know why God would have put me in this place where I felt so alone. But now after looking back, I'm like, wow, God, if you didn't do that, if I never felt like that, would I have wanted you as much as I did? And would it
Right.
have forced me to go and do that? I love also, he was talking about how Jesus made the disciples.
Yeah.
I think so many times in our life, we think that God's just gonna make things easy.
Yeah.
But sometimes God like makes us do hard things.
Yep.
He makes us do things that we don't want to do, and it really just proves our faith in Him. It gives us an opportunity to like test, like, okay, God, do I really believe what you're saying? What you say you're gonna do? Like, am I gonna do this hard thing even though I don't want to? I thought that was really good.
Yeah,
Right.
I love that point. We kind of talked about that a bit. I think when we were still down in Charlotte, or maybe on the way home, about like, I think Pastor touched on how we have God in our minds, or Jesus in our minds is like soft, and He's not. Like
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
is our Father, and He is gonna do things and make us go through things that are gonna be hard, but it is what's making us, and what kind of just like lets us.
Yeah.
We need to go through those things.
Yeah, and like I love that because I feel like even like just seems like the current theme that I've been like just getting an impression on is that like the Lord is craving intimacy
Yeah.
with His children again, and
Yeah.
because He wants us in that place of intimacy, sometimes He'll have us do or go through the hard thing in order for us to just wake up and be like, hey, I want you.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave that thorn in your side.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel the pain of that thing, so that you can see me, so that you can know that I'm here.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I love
Oh,
that.
that's so good.
That's really
really
good.
good.
I also liked when Pastor was talking about how like the wind was against them, right? And if they
Yes.
had actually turned around, the wind would have been for them, and it would have been the easy thing. But then they never would have gone into their purpose. They
Yeah.
never would have healed all these people. And it really is such like great reassurance that like you're saying these hard things, these thorns, these storms that we have to walk through, like again, they're there for a purpose. God is doing something beneath the surface that we don't know, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
we have to just say like, okay, God, like we were singing in Jireh, like, God, you are enough. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to be enough. I don't know why I'm going through this, but you are. And I just have to put all my trust and belief in you, and again, keep my focus on you. And I definitely feel like this message was
Yes.
for me. My word for this year is focus. And I feel like anytime it shows up in one of these sermons, I'm like, God, like, you're just reminding me to like, okay, turn your focus back to me, turn your focus back, and just see the ways that I'm going to move.
Amen.
Yeah. Well, it was an incredible, incredible sermon. We are so grateful. I know there's some ladies in my e-group who I was like, Pastor's not posting this online, but I'll re-preach it to you if I have to. And so I felt so blessed that he really felt called by God to share it with everybody. I think a lot of people in the church could really relate to this sermon today. So thank you for tuning in. Make sure you continue to talk to each other in the chat, and we will be back next Monday at noon. We'll be live again. So we will see you there, but have a great week, church.